let's break this down more. Now, there are times where we can be frustrated. When I say we, I'm including myself. This is things based on what I've seen all throughout my life. I would see people get frustrated, and even me myself, I'd get frustrated. And I would say something negative based on the frustration. Whether it be a curse word that slips out, or saying something negative about yourself. Right? So, let's have a practical example. You are an individual who's 5'6", yet you want to play basketball. And you have a strong passion and love for basketball. You want to play, you love to play, you play every single day. This desire is so strong in you that you just want to be like all of the other basketball players that you see on TV. But there's one thing that you don't like. You don't like that you're not as tall as they are. You see one of the basketball players one day. You was watching. You see them dunk. And you were so inspired by that dunk. That looked like amazing. That looked like the greatest thing. And you said, you know what? One day I'm going to do that. And you begin to practice. You practice, and you keep on falling down, and you're hurting yourself, getting bruises, back to back to back to back. It's hot, you're sweaty. All of these thoughts begin to flood your mind. And there's sometimes you start to hear certain voices saying, I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. But when you say it out loud, there lies the problem. How is that a problem? If the person is short, the person is short. I hear that. However, there are people who are actually shorter than 5'6" that are accomplishing the goal in which that individual is set. It's not about saying that the person is short. And the state that the person said that the person was short, he said it in a negative way, with anger, with frustration. He said it with surrenderance, like he's giving up. That was the state of his being as he said the word. So that could affect him negatively. So now when another circumstance comes up to where he can redeem himself, that word that he said before is now fighting him. When if he could have just continued on, and maybe he would just do some jumping jacks, start to train himself to get to a place where he can jump high, and say that he can do it, and reinforcing his way of thinking. If he does that, he will begin, when the situation pops up for him to dunk and to have his glory revealed to all men, he will be able to execute it and shine the way that he wants to shine. But if he's in a negative and he's saying, I'm too short, I can't do this, all of these different things, then his ego will be crushed. His soul, his spirit will begin to come down. Because now it believes what you're saying. Because we have a spirit. We have a soul. And it needs to, the spirit wants to believe something. Yeah, it wants to believe something. Whereas the soul wants to feel something. So if the spirit is constantly hearing all of the negative things, you begin to have a negative spirit. Why? Because the spirit believes what you're saying as you're saying it. Whereas your soul will begin to catch those negative feelings. And those negative feelings, what it will prolong. And those what those feelings become are moods. It's a state of being. We have something that says someone can be angry, right? Someone can be enraged, right? Someone can be upset. Someone can be pissed off, frustrated. Now, these words are very similar, but they're different in the state of their being. They are different in the state of their being. The length of time that they stay in that feeling are all different. There's a difference between being upset and being angry. There's a difference between being sad and being depressed. Being depressed is the state of being sad. So you were sad. Being sad is nothing but for a moment. But if you stay in the sadness, you become depressed. And that's the soul is what produces that. And you could be so depressed that your spirit also gets weighed down. Because remember, the spirit wants to believe. So when the soul is just shining this dullness, there's darkness, there's gloominess, what happens is that the spirit will also come down with the soul. That's why it's important for you to speak the right things. Now, I only spoke on just yourself. Your being. But there's something that it does to your world as well. The way you see the world. The way that the world operates with you. How does the world respond to you? Is the world responding to you in a positive way? Is the world responding to you in a negative way? How is it responding to you? And how are you responding to the world? How are your everyday experiences? Do you feel like you are where you want to be? A lot of us may say no. When I don't feel that. Can I encourage you? If you want to see a change, start speaking the change that you want to see. Even if you don't see it, remember our spirit wants to believe. So when our spirit begins to believe, our spirit interacts with the spirit world.
Heard of a father, yes, he forgives. He sent his only son, now we can live. I've heard of the father, yes, he forgives. He sent his only son, now we can live. I've heard of a father, yes, he forgives. He sent his only son, now we can live. I've heard of a father, yes, he forgives.